Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive with us. Today, we're looking at some of the potential issues with AI in 2024. AI is being used all over the place these days to create images, write code, even generate entire news articles. But what happens when this power, gets misused? We've got some interesting sources for you today. We've got a French article that digs into some proposed safeguards for AI, and then a story from a Polish radio station about an AI experiment that went very, very wrong. And we'll also look at a French documentary about AI and its impact on the upcoming U.S. election.
Wow, so it sounds like we've got our work cut out for us. This really does feel like the Wild West of technology. The possibilities of AI seem limitless, but so do the dangers.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the most pressing dangers right now has got to be deepfakes. That French article we mentioned really drives this home. Like, it's getting almost impossible to tell real content from AI-generated fakes. Remember back in the day, those early deepfakes, you could always spot them, right? You had extra finger, a weird glitch in the image.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But those days are gone. The tech's just advancing so rapidly, all those little flaws that used to give deepfakes away are disappearing.
It's a minefield out there. So what can we do about it? The article suggests something called synthed, which is, like an invisible watermark. It gets embedded in AI creations to verify where they came from.
Sounds pretty clever on the surface.
Right.
But like any security measure, I doubt it's foolproof. Think of it like a lock on your door, right? It might keep an honest person honest, but a determined thief is going to find a way in. And synthed, who knows how long before someone figures out how to get around it.
Good point. So it's not a silver bullet. But maybe it depends on the type of content. Like, would the synthed be more effective for a long article or a short social media post?
That's a great question. The article seems to think that it works best with longer content, especially more creative writing. For shorter factual content, it's less reliable. So, helpful maybe, but you've got to be realistic about its limits and definitely stay skeptical.
So no easy answers there. Sounds like our own judgment is still our best defense.
Absolutely. Critical thinking is more important than ever. We can't just trust everything we see online anymore. Think about the source. Look for anything that seems fishy or off. And be super careful with anything that tries to play on your emotions or push a particular agenda.
So ironic, isn't it? We need to rely on human judgment to protect us from technology that's trying to, copy human intelligence. Sometimes it feels like the machines are winning that race.
It's a sobering thought for sure. And it leads us perfectly to our next example, that story from Poland about the radio station and their little AI experiment. It's a pretty good reminder that we need to think about the ethics of all this before diving in head first.
Oh, this one's wild. So they were trying to be all innovative using AI to get this interview dead Polish figures.
You're kidding.
Nope. They even did one with a Nobel Prize-winning poet. Their idea was to explore if AI would be good or bad for media. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, as they say.
So I guess they got their answer, huh? What happened?
Well, it backfired spectacularly. Public outcry had to shut the whole thing down.
I can't say I'm surprised. Did they really not think this through? Bringing back people's voices and opinions from beyond the grave, that's some serious ethical territory.
Yeah, and talk about emotional ramifications. Where do you even draw the line? This whole thing just screams for clearer ethical guidelines, a more thought-out approach to using AI.
Absolutely. It's like the shiny new tech is so alluring that people forget about the potential downsides, which I guess is why we're here, right? Talking about these issues can help shape the future, make sure AI gets used ethically.
Hopefully. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, right? This tech is so powerful, but hey, maybe by talking about it, raising awareness, that's how we make a difference.
Couldn't agree more. And speaking of making a difference, our next stop takes us to the U.S. election. This French documentary we have, it shows how AI is being used to try and manipulate voters. And it's not pretty.
Oh yeah, this is where things get really scary. We all know social media can be a hotbed for misinformation, but AI just takes it to a whole other level.
The thing is, it can target misinformation, like an algorithm that knows your politics, your fears, your hopes, and feeds you content designed to play on those, no matter if it's true or not.
It's basically personalized propaganda, right, in your pocket. This documentary has some shocking examples. Deepfakes of Kamala Harris created by Elon Musk. Like, anyone can create fake audio or video now.
And it's almost impossible to tell it's fake. That's the scary part. It's like giving everyone a loaded gun with zero safety training. Plus, there's basically no laws to address this stuff, so voters are just left wide open to manipulation. Democracy itself is under threat.
It really feels like we're at a crossroads. This incredible technology, so much potential for good, but also being used in ways that could destroy our trust in, well, everything. Trust in information and each other in our systems. So where do we go from here? How do we stop AI from becoming a tool for division and manipulation?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's not about being anti-AI. It's about recognizing both the good and the bad and figuring out how to use it responsibly. And that's what we'll be looking at in the next part of our deep dive. A million-dollar question indeed. But, it's not all doom and gloom. That French article actually offers a bit of hope. They talk about creating this, what they call a culture of security around AI development.
A culture of security. Sounds a bit, I don't know, vague.
Yeah, well, think of it like, imagine you're designing a whole new city. You wouldn't just focus on the buildings and the transportation, right? You'd have to think about things like disasters, crime prevention, public safety. It's kind of like that with AI.
So it's about anticipating problems and putting safeguards in place from the get-go.
Exactly. Things like, really good documentation so we actually understand how these AI systems work, anonymizing data to protect people's privacy, and I think most importantly, making sure AI can't generate harmful content, like hate speech or, violent stuff.
I mean, that's a huge undertaking, right?
Yeah.
Almost like trying to predict the future and prevent every possible bad thing from happening. Is that even possible?
It's definitely a challenge, but we can't just ignore it. The stakes are way too high. And remember, it's not all on the developers either. Governments need to step up too. We need laws for this stuff. Laws about deepfakes, about data privacy, about how AI can be used, and maybe more importantly, how it can't.
True. But the tech world moves so fast, it feels like legislation is always playing catch-up.
Yeah, for sure. Which is why it's so important for all of us to be aware of this stuff. We can't just sit around waiting for someone else to fix it. This is on all of us.
So what can we do as individuals? It's kind of overwhelming to think about, going up against something as powerful as AI.
I mean, first off, we need to be smarter about how we consume information. Question what you see online, especially stuff that makes you feel really strongly one way or the other. That's usually a red flag. Look for signs of manipulation, check your sources, and if something seems too good to be true, it probably is.
It's like we all need a crash course in digital literacy, like learning a whole new language.
Exactly. We can't just take everything at face value anymore. We got to learn to decode this digital world around us. And, supporting organizations that are pushing for ethical AI, that's huge. There are groups out there fighting for transparency, pushing for better guidelines.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's easy to feel kind of helpless, but there are people out there doing the work, and we can support them. We started this deep dive talking about the dark side of AI, and for a while there, it was pretty bleak.
It's definitely easy to get caught up in all the scary stuff, especially after seeing those examples, that radio station, the election manipulation.
Yeah, but I think the main takeaway for me is that it's not all bad. AI is a tool. Like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. We still get to decide what the future looks like.
100%. Developers, policymakers, and regular people like us, we all have a say in this. That's what makes it so important to talk about. So going back to your question, how do we stop AI from going off the rails? It's going to take a lot. Responsible development, good laws, and people who are informed and engaged.
That's a lot,
Yeah.
but it's worth it, right? I think the most important thing we've learned today is that we don't have to give in to fear. AI has so much potential, but we have to be smart about it. Talk about it, face the challenges head on, and work together.
Yeah.
That's how we make sure AI works for us, not the other way around.
That's crazy, right? We've gone from those super realistic deep fakes to, should we be talking to dead people with AI to messing with elections? It's a lot.
Yeah, no kidding, but I think they all kind of come back to the same thing. The sheer power of this technology, AI is changing so fast, and we need to make sure we're in control,
For sure. And the good news is I don't think we're helpless. AI has a ton of problems, but it can do amazing things too. It's about how we use it. It's almost like a double-edged sword. That's a good way to put it. I mean, we could build a better future with AI, but it could also destroy everything. So, yeah, double-edged sword. And that's why this whole responsible development thing is so important. It's not just about making AI smarter. It's about making it, ethical, transparent, accountable.
Exactly. Tech can't just go off and do its own thing. It has to work with, our values as a society.
Yeah.
And to do that, everybody needs to be involved, right? Developers, governments, everyday people.
100%. We can't just leave it to the big tech companies and the politicians to sort it all out. This is about all of us. And that's why stuff like this, these deep dives, they're so important. The more we know about AI, the better.
Yeah. And it's not just about, being scared of AI or whatever. It's about learning, asking questions, and hopefully, coming out of it a bit smarter.
Totally. Knowledge is power, right? The more we understand about AI, the good and the bad, the better decisions we can make. And the more we can push for an AI that actually benefits everyone.
Well said. So as we come up for air from this deep dive into the world of AI, I'll leave you with one last thing to think about. How can we make sure that AI is used to bring out the best in humanity instead of, exploiting all our weaknesses?
And that's a question that deserves some serious thought. Because the future of AI, it's not written yet. We're writing it right now.
Yeah.
Every single one of us.
It's a good place to leave it, I think. So until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and keep diving deep.